What is the largest painting you've ever seen? Maybe you've seen one of those large frescoes. Perhaps you've seen Raphael's School of Athens, or maybe you've been to the Sistine Chapel. There are tons of choices to pick from. But think about the subjects of those paintings. More often than not, those paintings convey a dramatic rendering of a religious, historical, or mythological event. You wouldn't imagine, not in a million years, unless of course you've seen Monet's water lilies, that huge paintings could be about something as simple as water lilies. Claude Monet was tired of this, and other established genres. He was more interested in light and its effects than a perfect rendering of a historical or domestic event. So he started painting things like this, and this. After some initial success, he rented a house at Giverny, Normandy in 1883. The place doubled as a studio, and he started painting his gardens, the skies up above, and basically everything on God's green earth that would yield to his eyes. He immersed himself in buying more land and growing gardens for the next few years, including giving detailed instructions and precise layouts to his gardener. This went on for a while, until he realized that his style and subjects were growing stale. So, in the pursuit of novelty, he began painting a series of paintings around a single theme: nature. Monet's work garnered him acclaim at the tail end of the 19th century. And why wouldn't it? These paintings are some of the finest pieces of impressionist art around. But it was not until the late 19th century that he would delve into his most famous subject. In the house with large gardens and a pond with a bridge over it, our friend found his muse, the water lilies. But what got him to paint his last and most ambitious series? Well, you're about to find out. Monet's wife and eldest son sadly passed away, and his eyesight began to falter. He resorted to leading the retired life of a hermit. After 3 years, the First World War began. Now his friends were off to the war. His son was called up in 1915, and even his stepson was fighting. He could hear the sound of gunshots from his house and would listen to dreaded war tales from the occasional visitor. In 1914, a friend visited him. This friend was none other than Georges Clemenceau, who insisted that Monet pick up his paintbrushes and provide a morale boost to the troops with his marvelous works. Another artist, Auguste Rodin, was donating works to the state to help fund the war effort. How could it be that another artist was giving so much to the nation while the talented Monet was sitting depressed and isolated? Monet told him he could do 2 large-scale paintings. But, thanks to Clemenceau, a fierce negotiator, today we get to enjoy about 40 large-scale panels. Now at this point, at the beginning of the war, Monet's style became increasingly radical. Monet planned his most ambitious project, a set of 8 gargantuan curving panels. His planned works were so massive that he had to first go through the logistics of exhibiting them. Clemenceau proposed that he should have his own space, large enough to accommodate his vision and prestige. Monet worked closely with the architect of the Musée de l'Orange, or Museum Onger, to ensure that he would have enough space to house his magnum opus. They decided on 2 large adjacent elliptical rooms, painstakingly constructed for rhythmic fluidity. The viewers would walk seamlessly from one painting to another, losing themselves in the large canvases. Monet wanted not only a perfect space, but also the perfect light. So they decided to filter the daylight, diffusing it equally and flooding the 2 rooms. But wouldn't the sun's position throughout the day affect the lighting? Well, Monet was quite a few steps ahead of you. After all, he is the one who spent months painting these enormous paintings. The pictures with a rising sun were positioned on the eastern wall, and those with a setting sun on the western wall. The paintings still change according to the time of the day, which is why some people consider it the first art installation. But how did he make such large panels? Well, there's a myth that Monet never had a studio. Now, this is, of course, poppycock. He did have a studio and did not just paint outdoors. But these canvases were still far too big to fit into his existing studio. So he built a new space with filtered light coming in through the transparent roof. He began by choosing canvases with thick, weaving, rough weft threads. He would work on 12 canvases simultaneously so that one could dry while he painted another. And this proved to be of immense help since he had to apply several undercoats and let them dry off. He would move the canvases around depending on how they reacted to the light or how he wanted them to respond to the light. And once you see those panels, you realize what all the fuss was about. The works look distinctly atmospheric. The closest thing one could think of are Japanese woodblock prints. But even they, in their unflinching quest for harmonious simplicity, don't conjure a mood as dreamy as this. Monet was influenced by Japanese art, and his paintings of the Japanese bridge at Giverny offer a testament. The most transparent giveaway of Japanese influence is the presence of tree trunks in these large paintings, which serve to punctuate the otherwise hazy work. But is there anything here that one doesn't find in Monet's other works? Apart from the size, of course. Well, the first thing you'll notice is the evident absence of a horizon. There's not even a tilted or uneven horizon, there's just nothing. Monet has diverged so much from the conventional practices of Western figurative art that one cannot even find a trace of them here. For all the things Monet was not, he was not a traditionalist. What better to serve that argument than these pictures? Their calming, soothing appeal runs counter to the fierce European battle that was going on outside. Even in times of war, he wanted to couple the horrendous brutality with nonchalant tranquility. People have compared these works to battlefields, claiming that there's a lack of direction and one cannot find their way out of there. It would be wrong to dismiss those claims entirely, but one wonders if those people have really taken the time to be absorbed by these large artworks. But then again, maybe they don't feel the poise, the composure, and the peace that some of us feel. Maybe there are more secrets here than meets the eye. So let's head back to 1872, when a painting titled Impressionism sous le Levant is exhibited. Years later, when the Art Historians Club decided to arrange modern art legibly, they picked up the word impressionism from this painting's title to describe the slew of artists who radicalized the conventions of Western neoclassical painting. Now, the Impressionists did not like this title since it relegated them all to one league or genre, and we know how much artists want to flaunt their individuality. Nonetheless, that's what they were called. And the artist who painted this seminal work was none other than Claude Monet, who gained fame as one of the pioneers of the Impressionistic style. Impressionism can mainly be explained through 4 phenomena. Number 1, the arrival of the camera, a device that could more or less accurately reproduce reality. Number 2, the pollution caused by the Industrial Revolution that made everything appear hazy. Number 3, paint in tubes that allowed outdoor painting, also known as plein air. And number 4, the socio-political situation in France and rebellion against authority and established sentiments. Painters like J.W. Turner also provided a foundation for later artists to build upon, but if you discuss Impressionism, the first name that comes up, more often than not, is Claude Monet. And for good reason. He basically bookended a large portion of the movement with iconic works. If you liked our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Is Monet the most significant Impressionist? Do you think his large canvases are a work of undeniable merit, or just a sensationalist fad? Do let us know in the comments. We'll see you in the next one.